I'd like to welcome everyone today to our T21Con hosted by College of Education here at Illinois State University. We're really glad to have you here, and we have a really exciting conference planned. My name is Kelly Apple, and I'm one of the committee members for planning today's event. So we know now more than ever that instructional technology is so important in teaching, learning, and connecting with your students. So I want to remind everyone that today we'll be using Zoom Webinar as our tool. And so our speakers will not be able to hear you or see you, but we definitely will be engaging with you through the chat feature for your thoughts, and then through the question and answer button to submit any questions for the speaker. So today, to begin our day, I would like to introduce our Dean from the College of Education, Dr. James Wolfinger, to give us a few remarks. Jim?
Thank you, Kelly. Well, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the faculty and staff here in the College of Education at Illinois State, I want to extend a warm welcome to you for joining us for T21Con, and thank you for joining us throughout the day. I want to begin by thanking the English family, who I believe are able to join us today. They sponsored this great technology conference since 2012. We really appreciate your support and the support of many donors like you who enhance the lives of our students, faculty, and alumni. As Kelly mentioned, now more than ever, it can be challenging to create connections with students. There are many great new instructional technologies out there, and many of us need a little support to enhance how we are already using technology in our teaching. And that's why you're here. No matter where you physically are, I'm glad you chose to join us today as you enhance the great work that you're currently doing or preparing to do once you enter the classroom. We've heard many times about the great and innovative work that our students and graduates, current and future teachers, are doing in the field, and we're proud of each and every one of you. In this era of COVID, when we're all coping with a difficult time, the strength of teachers shines through. I know that your students and their families greatly appreciate all of your work. I hope you find some good tips and information today that you can take back to your classroom and share with your colleagues. Most of all, I hope you enjoy this learning opportunity and leave this conference feeling renewed and refreshed with new ideas. So, thank you for being here today, and I wish all of you the best in the coming days of this school year. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfinger. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Bryan Zwemke. Dr. Zwemke is a high school principal here in Illinois, and he's an active member of multiple educational organizations. He's a guest blogger for Teach Better Team, where he shares his insight on supporting the entire ecosystem throughout the school building. Bryan completed his qualitative research on building a school's social capital system through social media. Through his work, he continues to partner with districts to show schools the power of sharing their stories and sharing student voices. Please welcome Dr. Zwemke.
Well, good morning, good afternoon to all the Redbirds down there at Illinois State. My name is Bryan Zwemke. I am the proud principal at Minooka Community High School. And I'm really excited to be here today. Obviously, right now in education, this is quite a challenging time for us. I'd much rather be able to join you all in Bloomington Normal, have some Avantis with everybody. But I'd like to thank Kelly. I'd like to thank Molly Davis and everybody in the ISU Education Department for putting this together and giving me an opportunity to talk with you today. I could see you in the chat. I could see that we have 128 participants right now. I have the command center all set. TweetDeck is ready. I got the chat. I got polls. We have question and answer time. And really, our goal today is to try to grow our own professional learning network. And when we really think about what we do as educators, it's quite a challenging job. We're extremely busy, and I'm honored that you've taken some time out of your busy day today to spend some time with me and other education colleagues. We're actually in the middle of an institute day today, so I certainly know how busy you all are and how much you put into this job. So I'll get started a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about what we will do to run it, to get yourself involved. Really our key feature today is going to be the comment section. Probably the best way to communicate throughout. I would love to see everybody's smiling faces and be in person, or have a Zoom meeting where we can see everybody. We're in a webinar mode. If you are on a social media, you are welcome to join the hashtag T21Con as the hashtag for today on Instagram or on Twitter. Certainly participate in the polls. Let's try to keep that energy up. Our whole goal today is to take some actionable steps, ask some questions, and then react to those statements as they come through. So I'm a unapologetic baseball fan, unapologetic Cubs fan, and I'm hoping that you can keep your energy up like Ben Zobrist in 2016 World Series. We're in the playoffs now. We're hoping for a deep run. I'm hoping that you are either by yourself and you're celebrate like Zobrist, or as you move on, you go crazy with your whole team. But I'm hoping that it's not this guy here. And we've all been through conferences before or things like that. So we're going to try to keep our energy up. We're going to throw our first poll up there. If you could throw that up there for Kelly, you can answer in the chat or you can answer in the poll. Favorite team, who do you cheer for? Cubbies, White Sox, Cardinals, other? I don't follow baseball. Go ahead and we'll put the poll up there. About 70% in. I like the energy so far. This is cool. Let's go, let's go, let's go. A lot of families raised you right. I can see so far. This looks good. All right, Kelly, can you share those results? Awesome, awesome, good. We're cheering for the Cubs. They played today at 1 o'clock. We're certainly excited for that. Making sure our poll feature works. All right, so second poll, what level are you repping today? Are we elementary? Are we middle? Are we high school? Are we university? Kelly, can you get that second poll up and running for us? All right, coming in quick. So a little bit about my background right now. This is my second year as a high school principal. Previous to that, I spent 19 years at the middle level, 6 years in the classroom, and those other years as an administrator. I've had a chance to work throughout the state in Elgin U 46 and West Aurora 129, Yorkville 115 as a dean. Have been a principal in Batavia schools, and now proudly serving as a high school principal in Manuka Community School District. So elementary runs the show today, middle school and high school, and then university level. Awesome, awesome. Good to know who we have here as we go through. All right, so as we get a little bit deeper into our time together today, I'll throw a first question out here for you in the chat. In your mind, what is a PLN and why do you need one? What is a PLN and why do you need one? Let's spend a little bit of time in the chat. You can answer your question and we'll say to go to all panelists and attendees. Go ahead. What is a PLN and why do you need one? I love that. Professional Learning Network to stay sane. Hard to do in 2020 right now. All right, good start. Good start. Way to use that chat. So as you continue to chat in there, here's a definition I like through thoughtfullearning.com. Give you a moment to read that through as you are continuing to put in your chat. So the people, the places, the things that help you learn. That's what a PLN is. Some people don't even know we have them. Every person who has a PLN is a lifelong learner, and you guys certainly are exhibiting that today, jumping in 139 participants and growing. Help us out. So as we continue on, what are you thinking right now? How can a PLN impact your practice? How does a PLN impact your practice? And when do you choose to use one and when do you not? So let's take some time there. What are you thinking right now? How can a PLN impact your practice? I'm noticing Savannah will call them PLCs, professional learning communities. That's certainly a big part of a professional learning network. Good call, Savannah. What are you thinking right now? How can this impact make yourself better? Now, as we continue through our time together today, one of the things that I want to really make sure that we understand is obviously this job is extremely challenging in a normal situation. You know, whether you're an elementary, middle school, high school, or university level, if you're a board member, if you're a parent and you're helping, you know, people learn and grow, these are tough times. And one of the things that I think is important for us as educators to recognize is the amount of stress we put on ourselves, the amount of type A we put on ourselves, and you know, thinking about what we're doing cannot be perfect all the time. We're not going to throw a perfect game like in a baseball game. These are instructional practices, not instructional perfections. Let that sink in for a minute. They are called instructional practices, not instructional perfections. They are called instructional practices, not instructional perfections. Yet, one thing goes wrong in a classroom, we stay in that for a long time. Let's take a little bit of time and think about that phrase. What's your reaction to that phrase? How can this impact your practice? They are called instructional practices, not instructional perfections. Let's spend about 30 to 45 seconds as a group talking that out. I see Pamela talking about teachers are their own toughest critics. Tess, thanks for the shout out there. Kelly, ABC always be changing. Keep them coming, keep them coming. Coach, fail, first attempt in learning, absolutely. Appreciate the thoughts, Mackenzie and Christina. So if we're starting to recognize that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and in some ways we do this kind of on our own a little bit, as we move forward with our time together today, who do you rely on for support when things are not going well? We're not going to be perfect every day. We have to lower our expectations at times. Even though we have high expectations, we have to have realistic expectations. So who are you relying on for your support? Is it people inside your building? Is it people on your team? Is it a grade level partner? Is it somebody outside of your building? Shout them out here. Who do you rely on when things aren't going well? You see here, John Lester can't throw the ball at first base, has to rely on his buddy Rizzo. Who do you rely on? They're always there for you, always good for a story, always good to be able to help you learn and grow. Could be principals, could be admin, could be co-teachers, could be a custodian. Shout out National Custodian Day, by the way. Thank you, custodian. Assistant principals, co-teachers, mentors. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Savannah. Thanks, Linda. Awesome. Kathleen, other instructional coaches. Thanks for being an instructional coach. School counselors. Thank you to all those participants. 140 growing strong. Hey, we're growing. We're growing our numbers together, and we're not losing them. That's a good thing. So one of the ways, as you list out who are some people who you can rely on, who you can trust, there's lots of different approaches to take as you build your professional learning network. And we're going to go through a few of these together today. So the most common way is that inside-out approach. And this is where you really, you're excited about your job, you're excited about who you work with. These people here are really who you build your relationships with. These are the people that when things aren't going well, you go to them. These are the folks that take that time when you got a good story to share, when you need that pick-me-up. These are the people right in front of you. Don't ever miss out on these people. Face-to-face communication, relationship building. We could be all the digital we want in the world, but relationships and good conversation never go out of style. Utilize anybody you can. So before we continue to move on, I'm wondering kind of what that current state of your district is. So Kelly, can we launch that poll to see if we are in person, remote, or hybrid? Thank you so much. We're about 60% of voters. All right, polling is closed. So we are at 26% in person, 50% remote, 25% hybrid. We could be moving to hybrid in a couple of weeks, like Brandon is saying. Minooka Community School District is moving to hybrid 2 weeks from now. October 19th seems to be a hot date for a lot of schools in Illinois. Hybrid soon from Madison. Madison, where are you working from? Answer in your chat. Janelle, we are in person, but we have some remote. Good to have choices there. So when you think about the normal years that we teach, now being in a hybrid, doing something that we have never done before, relying on that in-person help is extremely important. The other key piece that I would think about as we've talked with our staff is whether we're in-person, remote, or hybrid, that those standards drive the curriculum, that curriculum drives the instruction, the students are always at the heart of it. And you may be thinking about, I'm gonna have 3 groups of kids in front of me, or I'm gonna, you may conceptualize it as 3 groups. The students in person on a hybrid, the students that might be on a screen, and those students that are remote only. You might conceptualize it as 2 groups, a remote only and a hybrid group, or you may not conceptualize it in any way like that. The most effective strategy for you is the one that works. So don't get caught up in how you're conceptualizing or how it might work or how it might not work. Once you get into it and you're teaching, and now we're in remote, 26% of you are in person. Those in-person 26%, you guys are the trailblazers right now. We want to learn from you. So those 26% in person, describe how in-person learning is going right now in your district. Give us something in the chat. Where are you working? How's it going? Let's hear from that 26% or those 28 of you that are in here right now. How is in-person learning going? Where are you working? Trinity, exhausting. I hear you. Going well in Lincoln. Good news from Brookfield. Pamela, you're presenting later today, is that correct? Awesome. Hope everybody joins you. It's going well, exhausting, but it would definitely, yep, good. Give everybody a moment, just kind of read those through. So if inside support is available for you and we rely on them the most, there are times where you got to get outside. You got to get outside of that bubble. So answering in the chat, where do you go for support outside of school? Let's hear from you in the chat here. Let's keep that energy up. You guys are doing a great job sticking with me. I know we got a lot going on. I know it's a little tough in a Zoom. So outside of your school, where do you go for support? Go ahead and answer in that chat. Friends and family, husbands, former coworkers, Facebook groups. Nobody put the local bar yet. No Maggie Miley's, no Avanti's. Shout out to Avanti's, good stuff there. Family and friends, wife, also an educator, good. So as we think about who we go outside to, we also have to take the opportunity to get outside our bubble. When we talk about that ecosystem, getting to conferences, visiting other schools, other classrooms, podcasts, talking with educators that can help you learn and grow. So if there's a podcast that you listen to, throw it in the chat right now. If you have visited another school, throw it in the chat right now. If there's somebody that you follow on social media, throw it in the chat right now so that we can help build another PLN for somebody. Abby Lyons podcast, absolutely, Madison, cool. Throw it in the podcast or throw it in the chat if you have a podcast that you listen to. I'm a big fan of the Teach Better podcast. Maniacs in the Middle, Josie Bensko, that's a shout out there. Monica Genta, she keynoted a couple years ago, fantastic educator. Absolutely. Jerry Brooks, that guy's legit. Keep them coming, podcasts. Give you another moment or so. Maybe jot down a couple of these. So moving, kind of into that digital realm, we've talked about podcasts a little bit. What is your preferred social media platform? Either answer in the chat or T21, we could stick in the chat too. What is your social media platform to learn and grow? We see some Twitters, we see some Instagrams, we see some Facebooks. So add to that a little bit more with who to follow on Twitter, who to follow on Instagram, who to follow on Facebook, so that we can grow. And I liked what Kelly said, a personal Instagram, professional Twitter, absolutely. So when we think about what our social media platform is, we can really kind of learn about, who's using what. And I liked what I saw in there. We had, a number of people talking about kind of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, really any kind of Web 2.0 tool, YouTube, lots of different ways to learn and grow. And the other piece too is to think about what you need it for. So, if you were maybe communicating with students, Instagram is a great way to connect with them at the high school level. I know Twitter is seen as kind of a little bit more of a professional tool for educators, but it's not the only tool. And there's several different tools. And again, whatever tool is the most effective for you to learn and grow, that's the tool to use. And we'll talk a little bit more about different tools and how to get going. So let's take a pause. Take a little stretch break at your workstation. what are you thinking right now of what we've talked about so far, and how can this impact your practice? We've talked about PLNs, talked about podcasting a little bit, talked about people to follow. What's the impact? What's the so what? Now what, so what? Take some time, do some reflection, and add a few things here in the chat as we transition on together. Carly, I agree. There are so many online resources and ideas for us to learn from. Which ones do we choose? Madison, you should switch chairs with me. I think that you should keynote next year. Teaching can be messy at times, especially now, and that's why we have to lean on one another. You win the day. Well done. Totally agree. Kelly, it's important to follow people that are both like-minded and not like-minded so you can gain multiple perspectives. Did you see, did my slides already get released? How do you already know that? Brilliant. Expanding your bubble. Good. Use the resources that are out there that fit my teaching beliefs. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we've talked a little bit about kind of getting social. So when we're talking about an education profile, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it can be overwhelming at times. My suggestion for everybody is to pick one platform to participate in, whether you're sharing, whether you're listening, or reading. So here's where I'd really like to fill up this chat box. List out people either from Facebook, from Instagram, or from Twitter to build that professional learning network, like that follow list. Who are maybe 2 or 3 people that you say, I got to tell people to follow this? Fill up that chat box right now. Who do we want to get social with on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram? Use the @ you could say, put an I for Instagram or a T for Twitter. Let's fill that up right now on who we're following. And I'd love for you to take out your device, take some time here while we're talking, and add all these people as you're expanding your digital PLN. Bob, I see you on Twitter on Follow Friday, hashtag Follow Friday. I love it. Instagram, Monica Genta, Ed from Jory. Awesome, thank you. Fill up that box, fill up that box. For me, Brad Johnson, Adam Welcome, Jeff Gargus, Trevor Noah, absolutely, Emily. Keep them coming, keep them coming. NEA Today on Instagram, good call. Let's get some more, let's get some more. Let's build that PLN, let's build that follow list. Awesome, awesome. All right, so moving through, let's take a little bit more time to go through as we move towards that question and answer time. So talking about, and you guys have been adding in some hashtags. Hashtags are specific to content, grade span, subjects related to technology. Here's a few that you could follow. Add some more to the chat. Ed Chat, Mastery Chat, TLAP is Teach Like a Pirate, Kids Deserve It, Teach Better, and so many more. Please add some more to your list here as well as you are learning and growing and adding more to your own professional network. Ramana, awesome. Generation Genius, Black Educators. Kelly, good call. Make sure your responses are set to go to all attendees, not just panelists. Thank you, Kelly. We should give a huge shout out to Kelly. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you for all you're doing behind the scenes. Please add more hashtags as we go. All right, so now as we are thinking about, kind of who to follow and who not to follow, sometimes things work out, people that we follow, sometimes a hashtag doesn't work out when we're following. We have to take some time to realize that we need some like-minded folks, and we need some folks that aren't always thinking things, through the same type of way. So really, why is this important? Why is this important? What are we thinking? So before we get into why this is so important, what are we thinking, I'd like to know a little bit more about who you are and your role in here. We're going to tie this into your job here. So Kelly, if you could launch the poll, what best describes your role in education? Are we a classroom teacher? Are we student services? Are we admin? Are we at the university level? Do we have any board members in here? Let's see who we are. Good, thank you guys as you fill this out here. Classroom teachers dominating, absolutely. We got some retired friends here. Thank you so much for everything you've done, paving that way for all of us. Student teachers, always job openings up my way. Come find us, cool place to work. All right, so if we know who you are, and we can launch that those results so they can see it here, let's talk about how long we've been doing it. So launch this, Kelly, if you don't mind. How many years have you worked in education? So the pre-service first year, second through fifth, sixth through 10. Let's see who's making up the majority of this room here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for staying active here throughout this. Really, really appreciate that. And love that we've maintained the number of people throughout this message today. I really, really appreciate that. All right, we're almost at our point to close that poll here. Then we can see that the majority of our educators in the house today are pre-service teachers, all looking for jobs in Manuka. But seriously, this is great for our pre-service teachers to learn this going into the profession. And one of the things that I talk a lot about with our pre-service teachers or with new teachers is at some point of your life, when you determined to be an educator, you most likely said, I want to go make a difference. And that is noble and that is incredible, but it's also individual. I want to go make a difference. And as you get into the profession, that I turns into we. My kids turn into our kids if we're working on teams and PLCs. And as we continue to grow in this field, it will always be about you and your kids in your classroom. But when we can make a culture about we and us and ours, it will help you grow that professional learning network so you won't be on that isolation island. So of all of our folks here, as we continue on our time together, we have to think about who we are in Illinois. And when we think about our teacher retention rates, we think about who's working here. This is just taken from the Illinois ISB site. You look at things like teacher retention and you look at things like teacher burnout. And what is often in the research is that they didn't feel supported from others. And we've talked about so much about how difficult and challenging this job is. 74% of teachers with fewer than 10 absences in a year. And I keep thinking back to how challenging this is and how we can help support one another. And whenever we need to ask for help, we're not admitting that we don't know what we're doing. It's we need some help. And as a building principal, I've reached out to people, weekly, daily sometimes. Hey, I need some help. How are you handling this? How are you handling this? Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign of strength, knowing the right questions to ask. And that will help us retain our great teachers in Illinois. That will help us get our teachers to school on a daily basis. We are excellent and proficient teachers throughout, but we're burnt out. And a lot of the reasons that we get burned out is because we end up doing it kind of on our own, and there's that individuality of this. So the more we can lean on each other, the better we can. I see Mr. Tutland talking about the biggest challenge in my building is the working 7 days a week feeling that we've been doing since March 13th. It won't stop, and there's no end in sight. And I can't agree with that, anymore. And that self-care that Emily is referring to is huge. The best way that I can say, and I agree, that we've been doing this since March 13th, and many of us didn't take summers. Trying to find that hour a day for your own mental health, trying to sit with somebody and have lunch with them rather than staying at your computer station. It's key, and something that I've talked about with new teachers, and I know we have more than new teachers here, and pre-service teachers are certainly here, is taking that, one weekend day off where you're like, I'm not doing anything related to education. I'm going to take a break. Giving that grace to yourself, knowing that, generally speaking, we get to emails and answer emails like we're playing whack-a-mole, and we answer them right away. Taking 12 to 24 hours is normal. Sometimes 24 to 48 hours. Going through your email list, and I'm a guy that if I have that red little number, I got to answer it. But I've learned that I don't have to answer everything in the moment. I've learned how to take that notification, throw it over to a Google task, know where I can answer it. I read through my things to make sure that there's no safety issues at all. And then I take the time to make sure that I'm present at home with my family, so that I can stay somewhat balanced throughout all this. And as we think about the great teachers throughout our state, helping them through their PLN is also really important. So as we kind of close up our time, I'm going to flip it to question and answer at this time. I've really laid out 8 different steps throughout, and this is a part of the takeaway. So I'm going to run through these quick. Choosing a platform, deciding your account style, making sure that you know what's personal, what's professional, creating that account so that you can consider kind of those key elements, making sure you follow a few favorites, moving a little bit further, kind of following some new friends, finding others with those same values, and also exploring who you trust and who you follow, and being careful out there. Sometimes it's tricky to know exactly who's in your network. So brainstorming those ideas for either student engagement or reflection, creating that top 3 list, creating your posts, but then also kind of taking that weekly commitment. So if you are going to go on into the outside world, into the digital world, you're just taking some time to do it, making sure that it doesn't dominate every 15 seconds, or maybe start with one time a week if the digital profile is new for you. So what I would like to do here is, just as we chat, and I'll drop the resource in here again, or if Kelly can link that in here, what's one thing from today that you would like to try to do to build your PLNs? Take some time there, and then I'm going to set up the question answer portion here as well too. What's one thing, so you don't overwhelm yourself? You got a lot on your plate. Plate's full. What's one thing you're going to try to do to ask for help to build your own professional learning network? Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Tess. Good. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Love the energy. Keep it up. I like the podcast on the way to work. Short, yep. Awesome. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And then take some time to read through. Miriam, good call on social media on a professional level. I know at times it can get a little scary that you're nervous about what you might tweet, what you might post. We could do another presentation for another time, but the research that I did on building social media with social capital is on a school platform and on teachers' platforms, there is almost zero incivility. There is zero name calling, zero questioning, zero aspersion, zero lying, vulgarity, anything that's typically negative, and why teachers are afraid maybe to post between that personal account or professional account. Now, that being said, those community pages we do see. So, what are the talk of the towns or whatever those groups, a parent group of this school, the parent group of that group, those are different situations, but that's not how you're trying to grow your professional learning network. You can grow your professional learning network fairly risk-free and not get pushback from other educators and not get pushback from other community members. So get out there and kind of try that. And again, the research shows that those school-based platforms, those personnel platforms for staff members, those are relatively untouched. I know that's often a fear. So I'm going to open it up to questions. There is a box here that will say question and answer. You could put it in there. You could put it in the chat, wherever you're there. Kelly, if you can help me along the way with this as well. I'm going to open up that chat feature and question and answer for you here as well. What questions do we have? How can we spend our last few minutes together? I love that. Work to find more people I agree with on my professional social media account. And as you guys are writing your questions in here, look through this chat. This is gold. All right, questions are coming in. So Michael, great question. Michael's asking, as a new teacher waiting to enter the career field, how would you recommend getting my name out there so schools and other educators through social media? Right from the beginning, I think you got to choose your platform, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case may be. And then, under your profile is really, who are you? What level do you want to be teaching at? I know that, oftentimes you can say, I'm a new educator looking for some help. People will pick up on that. If you're using a hashtag, new teacher or whatever the case may be, Michael, you'll definitely get some shout outs there. Good way to do it. I do know as I look for new teachers, I want to see if they are connecting, how are they growing their PLN? Do they have a digital profile? Tess, do you have time built into your day at your current school to connect with your PLN? Yeah, we do. Our teachers have a planned time. I know depending on the level, sometimes you can have some grade level team meetings or some team meetings at the middle school level if you use the middle school concept rather than the junior high. We build in late starts every other week for our staff on hybrid right now. We added just a remote learning planning day just today as a full institute day. Just again, practicing what we preach, that you cannot do this all on your own. And I mean, you can, but we're going to burn ourselves out. And that mental health and that fatigue will take a control of us. So yeah, absolutely, got to practice what you preach as an administrator and give your staff as much time as they need, and then give them time to work. Kelly, how can we use social media to connect with some of the great tech apps that we're using? I feel like I could do a better job at this. I know many of them have accounts and would be willing to send swag. So Kelly, I think it's great. I have a math department chair, Tracy Adams, and she's just using fluid math. She takes a quick picture of or a video of talking about fluid math, tags them in there, and then all of a sudden gets more and more growing into that professional learning network, having other department chairs reach out to her. I think whenever we can use that tool's name, either their hashtag or their address for Google for EDU or whatever the case we're doing, Jigsaw, Seesaw, anything that will pick up more and more followers, that will pick up more and more opportunities for other people to get involved in. Kelly's also adding, how could we use social media this year to think outside the box and invite cool speakers to come to our Zoom meetings? Again, it depends really on what you're teaching and what you're trying to do. Professional organizations may need to help. We've done some student leadership this year where we've reached out and done Zoom. We're all trying to figure this thing out together in a remote way, but engaging groups could really help lead to that higher level of engagement. Kelly, how are we doing?
Well, we're doing great, Brian, but we're nearing the end of our time. So the last two questions I see are asking a similar thing for all of our pre-service teachers here. They're asking for your advice for new teachers entering the field, especially given the context they've been experiencing. So just a quick bit of advice for them, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, again, it's taken time to build that team around you. Making sure that work-life balance is key for you as well too, and stick with it. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs as an educator. Those are real experiences, but you and all of the other educators that are in the field right now have a huge opportunity and learning opportunity to understand some tech tools, to lean on one another. And you're going to do great. Remember that you're going to do great in this field of education, and best of luck to you. I would be happy to reach out to anybody, or if anybody wants to reach out to me through Twitter, through Instagram, and set up a time to talk a little bit more of what you're struggling with or how I might be able to help. Thanks, Kelly.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Zwemke, so much for those great remarks. And I know we were all thinking the same thing about how timely this message was, and how important relationships, connections, network, and relationships are really the name of the game right now. So thank you for all those tips. So I want to go through just a little bit of housekeeping before we send you off to your next session. We have sessions that start on the hour now through our final one, which begins at 3 o'clock. And all of them are on the T21 website, the links and the descriptions, if you haven't already chosen what you'll attend. And I will put that in the chat if we haven't gotten that in there yet. Also, just making sure that our practicing teachers know that we do offer PD credit. You'll need to attend a session each hour because partial credit isn't an option, but the ROE 17 has partnered with us to offer PD credit. So there's also that request form on the website that you can fill out. And then for everybody, just a last couple of reminders that you'll receive an evaluation in your email early next week. And it's really important to give us that feedback so we can continue to tailor this conference to your needs. And then last but not least, we have an email, T21Con @ilstu.edu, and we are monitoring that today. So if you have questions or any issues with the conference, just reach out to that email and someone will be able to help you. So thanks very much. And I know you have time for just a short break before our 12 o'clock session starts, and look forward to seeing you all the rest of the afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Zwemke.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Appreciate it.